ACC football kickoff from Charlotte. We're now joined by NC State Wolfpack head football coach Dave Doreen. Coach, thank you for taking time to talk to us.
You bet.
Well, there is every year I feel like I'm last year it was the defense and this expectation of how excited I am to see it. I think this year it's all about your quarterback, and there's I'm hearing this. I got a Wolfpack fan right beside me, and his expectations for Finley, I'm sure, are as high as anything. But talk about Finley and his progression and the offseason and going into this year.
Well, excited to have Ryan back. I think the world of him. Impressed with just the way he goes about his work. He's a worker. He loves the process. He couldn't give up being the leader of this football team, which I respect. I think he knew he could have gone to the NFL and been a backup or whatever he'd end up being the year or two or three. And by doing so, you're giving up a chance to be the leader of a college football team, and you never get that back. And so I really love that he went through that process and came out on this side of it. He's going to have a great season. He stays, where he needs to be, process-oriented with this receiving crew that he's got around him and tight end that we got coming in, and O-line protecting him. He's got a chance to have a special year.
Now, he's growing his hair out a little bit. It's getting long. It's really curly. Yeah. Have you tried to get him to cut it at all? Because I saw him. I said, man, he needs to cut that.
That's not my job. I'll worry about his football. He's got a girlfriend that can worry about his looks.
There you go. Now, when you took the job a couple of years ago, one of the first things you said was, we're going to build a wall around the state for the in-state recruits. And you have 100% lived up to that for the 2019 class. You've got 13 of the top 50 guys in the state. How have you gone about living up to what you promised the fans?
Yeah, use Donald Trump here. The wall just got higher,
That's right.
So trying to put up a big red wall right now. We're just, and I got here, it was almost sickening walking into high schools and looking up at their walls of players that were at SEC schools that are out-of-state schools. And I'm like, what's going on? It's just really, for a guy that grew up where that wasn't how it was, and growing up in, the Big Ten, I guess you'd say, in that area of the country, every kid in Wisconsin went to Wisconsin.
Right.
If he didn't, his high school coach probably would have disowned him, and that's just how it was. And so I was really taken back by that, and I knew I had a lot of work to do. I had to build relationships here. We had to prove it, and we had to win games. And, those are the things we've been able to do. We had to develop players, being second in the country in draft picks. Now, why would you leave your state knowing that you can go to the NFL and play against the best players in the country in our league?
Right. So it's not even just building a wall around the state. You got a recruit out of Australia yesterday, a brand new punter. How did you go about getting a recruit from Australia?
That's intrigued me for a while. And the last 5 Ray Guy Award winners are Australian punters, So obviously that's a track record they have now. And we're losing a great punter this year in A.J. Cole. So this search started a couple years ago. These guys do a thing where they go through the United States and they see a bunch of camps. And our particular guy, did not come through here on a camp, but we've gotten to know his coaches. And they ask you, what do you want? Do you want a rugby guy? Do you want a normal guy? Do you want a righty? Do you want a lefty? And then they tell you what their pool of guys is. And so we're excited, that we're able to do that. And AJ's a great punter. He's going to be a 4-year starter for us. And so we don't want to have a drop-off when he's gone.
I mentioned that defense from last year, and certainly the headline guys, sent some guys to the National Football League. But Sam and I have talked about the fact that what's been a trend in football for a while, but certainly what you guys have done, getting some of the other guys. The rotation that you've done on the defensive line. I know you got to feel comfortable, despite these headliners going on to the NFL, that you got some great talent on the defensive side coming back.
Well, and that's why you rotate, so that you're ready for that. Not just when they leave, but you're ready for injuries too. Last year there were some times where, guys were out of the game, and all of a sudden, Darian's a starter. He started our bowl game for us when Bradley was out, So, that's why you do that. You can't just build depth without giving them reps.
Right.
You can't. And why do you build depth? Well, you build depth so that when you have an injury, you're okay, and so that when people graduate, you're okay. And so we have that situation now, and we have it with all 4, which is really unique. There's only been 3 times in the history of the draft that 40 linemen were taken from the same team. So this is a unique thing that's happening here, and it's a unique challenge.
Now, just to stick with it, we'll go to a different positional group. The position that's always frustrated me as an NC State fan is the wide receiver core, and you have, without a doubt, built the best wide receiving core I've ever seen as a Wolfpack fan. Obviously, Kelvin's come a long way.
Yeah.
The guy I'm more curious about is Jacoby Myers, who came to you as a quarterback. What did you see in him that made you realize he would be such a successful wide receiver?
Well, George McDonald deserves a lot of that. I'm going to tell you that. I think he's the receiver coach on our staff. I think he's the best in the country at developing players at that position. He's very hard on them. He's demanding, and he's fundamentally sound at what he does. And obviously, you need a quarterback to throw it to him, but George deserves that, you know. And when it comes to rebuilding that group, we were short at that position when we got here. I was sick of seeing our corners get jumped over all the time and not being able to do it to theirs, you know. So it's like, hey, we got to get longer at these spots. And so we went out and did that, you know, and we've got depth at that spot too. Jacoby, what did I see in him? You know, I saw an opportunity. You know, at the time he was the third-string quarterback. He wasn't going to get on the field. And we didn't have playmakers at receiver in the slot area. Thought that he could help us at that position, and he's a great athlete. I mean, he's a center fielder in baseball. You know, he's a good basketball player, and I knew it wouldn't be difficult for him to go over there and make plays. He just would have to learn how to do the craft, and to his credit and Coach McDonald's credit, he's gotten there.
Well, I know specifically because this guy beside me, a lot of NC State fans were a little worried. They heard these rumors about Tennessee and Ole Miss last year, but you signed an extension to stay in Raleigh. Talk about that decision and really your feelings about the program going forward and why you decided to sign that extension.
Well, we love it here, and my kids love it. My wife have good friends. Our kids have good schools. They love their schools. I like what we've built here. I like our culture, and I don't feel like my work is done here. You know, I came here to be the best coach NC State's ever had. I got to win 39 more games to be the winningest coach in NC State football history. I'm not there, and that's not going to be easy in this league. But, you know, I want to, just like I've been any other job, I want to be able to say that I left it better than I got it, and I can't say that I've done that yet. I think we're in the best place we've been in a long time, but I want it to be the best it's ever been. And as a competitor and as a person that enjoys quality of life, where else would you want to live? I mean, really.
Yeah.
You get in a car and you're in the mountains, the lakes, the rivers, the weather's good, there's good athletes to recruit, our fans are awesome. So it's just a matter of getting the right contract. You know, I wanted to have sustainability in my staff, long-term contracts. I needed a long-term contract so I could recruit the right way. Going into a home with a 2-year deal is different than going into a home with a 5-year deal. And everybody's seeing that now with the type of kids that we're getting.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly glad we've got you locked up long term now. If I ever start hearing these rumors again, I'm getting up to Raleigh and I'm going to come, I don't know, hold you hostage inside of your house or something. But you're doing a great job. But I gotta ask and reference back to something that happened with you a couple weeks ago. Did you feel like you were momentarily on the hot seat when you mistakenly referred to a grill as a barbecue?
That's not a mistake. I mean, you know, when you live in Kansas City, that's what it's called. Right. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to erase my upbringing for you. When someone says in Kansas City, what do you want to do tonight? We're going to go barbecue. That means you're going out to the grill and you're cooking meat. So, you know, I shouldn't have to apologize for how I was raised. I'm not going to.
So, but being in Raleigh, right in the middle of the state, you know, you obviously know the divide between East Carolina style barbecue, sure, Western Carolina. Which is your preference? Because we've got Western
man. I don't
here.
Discriminate on barbecue. I'm not going to do it. I love it.
Right. Okay.
But, you know, if those
That's
people
fair.
went to Kansas City and asked for barbecue, people would look at them pretty weird. They'd say, well, what kind do you want?
Right.
You want ribs? Do you want chicken? Do you want sausage? Do you want burn it? That's what they would say to them. So, you know, that's the world we live in. But, you know, I love the North Carolina barbecue here, and I do understand what a grill is, but I'm not going to change how I call it. Trust me.
Got you.
I know it's the old saying, I guess, goes that, you know, you're maybe only as good as your last game. So the last game of the year, we assume, is always going to be a bowl game. You're 4-1 in bowl games, which is fantastic. And do you kind of how much emphasis about setting the offseason, I think, in the positive direction does a win do for winning bowls?
It helps. I mean, I think, you know, beating our rival 2 years in a row, winning our bowl game 2 years in a row, we've had great momentum going into our Januaries here for 2 seasons, and it helps. You know, you walk in there and, like, here's why it happened. I think it says a lot about our strength staff, the way we conditioned through the year two to be able to finish strong, the way we've been able to. But there's no doubt the momentum that we had in the last 2 off seasons was a lot more enjoyable than what we had 3 years ago, coming off a beating. You know, Mississippi State got us here with Dak Prescott in the Belk Bowl.
Oh.
So, you know, I don't want to relive that. Nobody does, obviously, but you do like reliving the wins that come from a bowl game.
I know one of the wins you're still looking to hopefully get. You were so close to last year, the Clemson game. Because it still does it for me. Does the word or the phrase illegal shift still give you nightmares sometimes at night because of that game?
No, I mean, look, we got to execute better under pressure, and you know, whether it was a kick the year before against them or the formation in that game, those are 2 pressure plays, and we blew it, and that's on me, that's on our players, that's on our staff, and we got to do a better job there. So we got to find that play, we got to find that preparation, we got to find that player. Once you get over the hump, it's just like beating Florida State and Louisville now. I mean, we were close, and now we've beaten them. It's a different deal. You know, we got to get over the hump here with Clemson, and hopefully we can this year. They're a great team.
Well, Coach, I know we're short on time. We really appreciate you spending time with us. Head coach of the NC State Wolfpack, Dave Doreen. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, guys. Go Pack. Bye.